Well, hey there, everyone. This is Dan, one of the two wise guys. If you're here for the live stream tonight, we appreciate you being here. Unfortunately, something has come up, and Chris is not going to be able to be here with us tonight. So we're going to go ahead and postpone episode 9 until next Saturday, which is July 15th. And as always, we'll be streaming live at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And if you haven't already done so, you might want to check out the first episode of Unscripted. I'll have a link in the description below as well. It's a new show we tried doing last week, I think it was, or 2 weeks ago maybe. We were just kind of wanting to try out some different new formats and things like that. So this one is a more raw and natural kind of conversation. We're not sure when we're going to do episode 2, but if you want to be a part of that, it'd be really cool to get more voices than just the two of us in there. Make sure that you subscribe and turn on notifications. That way, when we start going live, it might be randomly, we don't even know. You'll be able to get notifications about that either through your email or through your phone, through a push notification or something like that. And we'll be happy to have you join us on there, either in the chat room or, once we get to know people, maybe even inviting them to join the video stream as well, which would be kind of cool. But the last little bit of news for this week is related to the podcast. So if you're already a subscriber to the podcast, you know this stuff already. But for everyone else, Chris and I enjoy talking about the news, as I'm sure you all know by now. But we also wanted to be sure to be conscious about other people's time, because I know that the show can go kind of long sometimes, and we try to roughly keep the live stream to about an hour or so. And I think it was around episode 3, maybe 4. We added a brief news roundup at the end, but it kind of went a little longer than we were hoping for on that one. So we decided to try something new. And last week, I think it was, last week, I recorded the first episode of a new show called The Roundup. It's an audio-only program, so it's only on the podcast right now. I may clip up some of it and take some of those little segments and just put an image on it and put it up on the YouTube channel if anyone else wants to check them out. It's kind of a fun thing. So it's just kind of going through the week's news. The tagline of it is that it's two wise guys to show about the week's hard news. So the idea of hard news being, global events and things like that. So it's not necessarily the same kind of content that you would get on the live stream when we talk about some perhaps more fringe topics like we did last week with the hydroplate theory and possibly what's coming next week. So I hope you guys will tune in for that. Also, I'll have a link to the latest episode of the Roundup. It's episode 2. I recorded it this past week and released it, I think it was on Wednesday. So I'm looking forward to when Chris will have a chance to do one, because I'd like to get his take on some of these news stories. And if any of you have any thoughts on it or any feedback you want to give, I'd be glad to hear it. So you can go to twowiseguys.org/contact. You can also go to the SoundCloud page itself, or whatever your preferred podcasting app is, and submit a comment there as well. Speaking of that, there are a couple new recently added platforms that we added the podcast to. I think Podcast Addict is one of them. That's the one I normally use on my Android phone. Still no luck with iTunes. We're getting there. Just been busy. So for those of you who use the iPhone, it's coming. Just be patient with us. But yeah, the Roundup is kind of a cool show. They're about 20 to 30 minutes long. We're trying to get them shorter, but it's kind of hard to do anything of real substance in less than 20 minutes. But if you're a news junkie or just want to hear our take on some of the week's news stories, head over to the site and check it out. I'll have a link in the description below as well. And of course, a big thanks to a YouTube user named that goes by NCS Sounds. He commented in our last video in episode 8 and offered us some free music to use. So that was really cool. So the music that was featured on his site and his playlist is actually used in the Roundup. So if you're interested in getting some free non-copyrighted music for maybe your podcast or your own videos, or even just for your listening pleasure, because it's good music, I really like it a lot, head over to his channel as well. I've got a link in the description for that as well. Anyways, that's all I've got for this week. So thanks again for being here, and we're sorry for postponing for a second time now. I know the last time we did this, I got word from some of you that you were pretty disappointed that we didn't do it that week. And I know, from those of you who I've talked to outside of the video, that know what the topic was going to be. They were kind of excited about it. Um, so tune in next week for it, and I'd love to get some people in the chat room. And if you have friends or family who you think might be interested in the show or might be interested in just a kind of a fun conversation, it'd be great to have you guys there as well. But until next week, this is Dan signing out, and I'll see you then.